I have suffered from asthma since I was very young, and the disease used to bother and scare me a lot. One morning, I woke up feeling a little hard to breathe and I tried hard to take deep breaths. Soon, my breathing problem became worse and I felt like something was blocking my chest, making it impossible for me to breathe properly. When my parents saw my condition, they immediately decided to take me to the hospital. After a while, my condition did not improve immediately. My breathing was still very difficult and I felt weaker and weaker, even unable to walk properly. My parents stayed by my side, giving me encouragement and support. My father carried me into the hospital. The doctors told my father that my asthma had worsened and needed immediate treatment. They gave me some medication and then put me on bed rest. At that time, I didn't know what kind of medication the doctors gave me, but I knew that my body became very relaxed. My breathing also gradually returned to normal. After a while, I felt very tired. The nurse kept trying to keep me awake, but I fell asleep. Later, when I learned what had happened, I realized how dangerous the situation was. I stopped breathing, but I'm not sure if my heart stopped beating too. I felt like I had entered a dreamlike state, as if I was caught in a nightmare from which I could not wake up. I had a very peculiar feeling as if I was in another world. I gazed at the man in the hospital bed. I couldn't see his face, but I felt as if he had some kind of connection with me. I now felt very light, as if I were floating in the air. I could see the doctors and nurses going about their business. Their figures were moving quickly through my vision. I felt my vision become unusually sharp, as if I could perceive more details and information. I now felt very calm, without the pain and fear I felt before, as if everything in the world had nothing to do with me. At the same time, I also felt a little lonely and longed to return to my family. When this thought occurred to me, I found myself standing in the kitchen of my house. My grandmother was there cooking and was frying my favorite potato pancakes. I felt so happy to see this scene. I tried to shout, but realized I had no way to make a sound. I tried to shout, but my grandmother didn't seem to be aware of my presence. This feeling made me very sad and scared. I walked towards my grandmother and tried to touch her. I hoped she would notice my presence, but my hand went straight through her shoulder. Suddenly, I was in a dark space. I didn't know where the boundaries of this space were or how I could escape out of it. There were many souls like me all around me. They were caught in this dark space just like me. We searched for a way out, but this place was like a closed space. As the time passed, I became more and more desperate. Just then, I noticed a light in the distance. I started to move toward that light source. I can't remember if I went through the tunnel. I came to the world of light. The light there was very bright, as if it were the light of life. I felt very excited and surprised because I had finally escaped from the darkness and had come to a new world full of hope and life. As I entered the light, I felt a strong sense of love. It was unlike any emotion I had ever experienced before. It was a supernatural love that made me feel at home. I felt very relaxed here. The emotion was so strong that I can't even describe it in exact words. I want to go back into the darkness and bring others here as well, but I don't know how to go back. Here, I don't feel the presence of time. I felt detached from reality, as if I had reached a dimension beyond time and space. Here, everything becomes clear. All my questions are answered accurately, including those things that had bothered me for a long time. I feel I am able to think more deeply and understand the world in a way I have never experienced before. Suddenly, a woman appeared in front of me. She seemed very friendly, as if she had known me for a long time. I felt she was more like a mentor. She had a soft glow about her, as if the air around her had become warm and comfortable. Although I didn't know who this woman was, her presence made me feel very at ease and comfortable. My mentor helped me review my past life. At first, I was a little confused. I was just a 12-year-old kid. What could I possibly have to remember? As the guide guided me, my attention shifted to the screen on the right. I saw something I had done. I was surprised to find that some small things I had done could have such a big impact on others, and that some actions that had seemed insignificant had an unexpected positive impact. One of the incidents really impressed me. There was a new student in our class. He had just immigrated here. His English was not very good, and some of his classmates used to tease him. One time, I saw that classmate was being bullied. I felt very unfair, so I went over to the classmate who was bullying him and accused him. I remember that my heart was beating fast, but I also felt a sense of courage and pride. On the screen, I saw a grateful smile on that student's face. I also saw the more profound impact this incident had on him. I saw how quickly that student integrated into the school and made more new friends. He also participated in more activities, and he clearly became more confident. I was struck by how a very small amount of help can make a huge impact on someone's life. The mentor explained that every little thing one does can accumulate into a significant force that can change the world. Never underestimate your power. These acts can inspire more kindness and compassion in people's hearts. This will inspire more people, thus creating a virtuous circle that will make the world a better place. These words touched me deeply. I began to understand that each person can change the world. My mentor finally asked me, should I return to Earth or stay here? I was in deep thought because it was a very difficult decision. I really wasn't sure if I should go back to Earth, because I felt very comfortable here. I don't know if I have made the right decision. Can you give me some advice? I asked my mentor. She replied, it's your own life and you need to make your own choices. I thought to myself that it would be nice if I could foresee my future. My mentor seemed to know my doubts, and she reassured me that I could show you a part of your future life, which might help you make a decision. I was very excited. I immediately nodded my head in agreement and looked forward to what my mentor would show me. Please follow me. The mentor led me to a room with a large screen. As I gazed at the screen, the picture began to become very clear. I saw a family, a wonderful family. The children were playing and the parents were drinking coffee. The scene was so beautiful and heartwarming that I felt I could feel that happiness. I also saw my future career and the work environment where I am. I was excited to see these because they showed the results of my hard work. My guide also showed me some of the difficulties I might encounter in the future, including my asthma. I was worried about how this would affect my life and work. My mentor told me that these difficulties can be overcome if I keep a positive attitude. Remember, some things may change later and the direction of development is entirely up to you. My mentor reminded me. I felt a little confused. Are you saying that my future is in my own hands? Yes, she nodded. Any decision you make will affect your future development. I understand, thank you for the reminder. I took a deep breath. I had made my decision. I want to go back to my family. I knew it would be challenging and difficult, but I believed I could overcome them. As I followed my guide back to the hospital, I saw my mother in the hallway. She was crying and wiping her tears with a tissue. My father, on the other hand, was holding her tightly and trying his best to comfort her. I felt very sad to see this scene. And I knew that my condition had caused them a lot of pain. I had to return to my body as soon as possible, so I rushed back to the ward. Getting back into my body was a very difficult thing to do. I tried once, but failed. The wizard told me to concentrate so that I could reconnect with my body. So I tried again and I managed to get back into my body and feel my breath and heartbeat. When I opened my eyes, I saw my mother standing next to the hospital bed and she looked very excited. Her hands were shaking, as if she didn't believe her eyes. She hugged me tightly and said excitedly, "You are finally awake." My father also came in and he was all very happy to see me awake. At that moment, I felt very happy and content. Soon I left the hospital. When I got home, I sat on the bed in my bedroom. The sun was shining through the window and illuminating the whole room. I approached the window, felt the warmth of the sun, looked at the flowers and plants outside, and felt the power of life. I felt like I had been given a second life. I thought of my future plans and goals and felt I could do anything and face any challenge. I took a deep breath. Even though it's been 13 years, when I recall the event, I can still clearly remember every detail of what happened then. I have a wonderful girlfriend now, and we have been dating for 4 years. She was a classmate of mine and we were very much in love. I got to see my future wife during that experience. Although I didn't see her face, I clearly remember that her hair was brown. My current girlfriend also has brown hair. I was convinced that she was my future wife. Even though I was plagued by asthma, I didn't let it control my life. I have learned how to cope with it, how to control it, and how to move on with my life. I believe that no matter what the future holds, I will be strong in the face of it. I will not let it be a limitation for me. I will move on and create my own future.